Hello and welcome back to the channel, and just following up from yesterday's overview of the churn and in mechanic. I just want to do some brief follow-up, and then we can be on our way adventuring again. So if I just clear the decks a wee bit, the Dungeon Master's Guide out, looking at few bits and bobs. On the mechanic itself, now we created this on my 15 column paper, this overview, this grand schedule showing what we're going to be doing in the Green Dragon Inn for the next week. I suppose it's almost comparable to a control panel on a car. It's got all the instrumentation in columns. It's got all the readouts, all the individual residents. Maybe stretching the analogy, it's like the bridge on the Enterprise. This is our control. This is where everything is directed and centers on. We always come back to this as our control mechanism. This is the technology that we're talking about. There is a very neat auditor trick, so you can tell how intelligent accountants are. We invented this very neat little trick where you line the paper up and do a quick fold, and then you've got, we call this A4 size, but it stretches out. If you imagine you've got a big audit file, lots of sheets, and you can have everything all piled in, and then you can come to one page and you can do that and get it out. Clever, right? Well, maybe not. That's the technology level that we're up to. This is a tech level 6 to 7 channel, YouTube channel. Now, I did notice when I was doing my arrivals that I might have made a little bit of a blunder on that, because I have in my mechanic stipulation that, and I think this is just an oversight that I did yesterday, that the Green Dragon Inn has a maximum level of 20 occupants and a minimum of 10. Now, if we count I'm sure we've got 9 here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So, in fact, it's probably better just to put a numbering system in. So if we have to just quickly glance, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that leaves, we should have 10 no matter what. So what I'm going to propose is that I create a 10th, and I have an arrival, and for sake of argument, let's just use the fact that we generated these two as kind of dummy test run type examples, just so I could show you how they schedule in. Let's take an adventurer. So we will have an adventurer. So we'll put ADV to be advised. We'll take these items out of our schedule, and I think what we should do is, instead of taking these, which seem to be almost the extremes of the week, why don't we just re-roll what day this particular adventure is going to come, and that will illustrate how that happens when we come to the certain day in the week. I can trigger this new adventure, and we can have a bit of excitement. Find a new friend for us to talk to. So all I have to do is get my D8 out and roll a D8 to see what day it appears. So let's see. We get him on a Wednesday. So the middle of the week, we will have, so we've got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We will have an arrival on Wednesday. So that clears up that particular little oversight. Now remember, we don't need to do any more detail than that, because when we come to Wednesday, that will trigger that adventure, and then we work out what the personality is like, what the class, race, sex, all that good stuff. That is all defined. But just now, we don't even know this is happening. The gods are overseeing this process, and they know the master plan. They've got everything mapped out. It could be like this thing that some scientists think that everything is there's no such thing as was it the past and the present and the future. It's everything is happening at once. And maybe this green dragon in everything is happening at once. You know, the future is not the future, it's the past. It's all very confusing. So let's just keep this keeps it simple. It just says, come Wednesday, we will have an arrival. We don't know what it is. This is the exciting bit. So, okay, what else have I got? Hallis is a fighter. I found out. I was poring through my notes on Hallis, and I've got a lot of information now that I've collected over the well, I was working out how long I had been. I think it was about the 19th of January that I put my initial video up. So this is almost 2 months. Here we go, Hallis the investigator, and I had all this jotted down because we had the green dragon in and all that type of interaction, fun, and you're working out what he was careless. Or was he careless? Could have been careless. We don't know. Maybe it was a bit of a cunning plan on Hallis's part. He was friendly. He's a very sociable type of guy. Very probably charming. And just to go, he's mysterious. We said level 6 to 8 fighter, so we didn't define it, but we did say that he was a fighter. He's got this aura, the scar on the cheek, penetrating eyes. The carelessness could be a front. This is a very enigmatic kind of character. This is exactly what Advanced Dungeons and Dragons is all about. He is emanating first edition as we speak. This is the stuff of stories. So I am not going to be harsh on Hallis, and I am going to stop him being. Well, maybe what I'll do is I'll have NPC, and I'll have, because he is an official, that's his primary purpose. So he's not going to do, like for the other player character, the other NPCs who are adventurers, they do things. They have, adventuring tasks or individual tasks, whereas he just does his work. And in fact, I will come to the NPCs a bit further down the line, because I thought I might be a bit harsh on that, just saying that's all they do is work. I think I might add a wee bit of variety into that they might have other ulterior motives, which makes them more exciting, makes it more fantasy type thing. Also, we have our thread selection. What thread are we going to select? So according to the guidelines on threads, I was supposed to... Threads represent ongoing storylines or events with a life cycle requiring tracking. List all existing and new threads and select one to progress using judgment or optionally using a random choice. Okay, so I took that to heart, and I have got in my notes, I have threads. I'd started it and I actually added to it yesterday. So here we go, campaign threads, March 170, Anno Eventus. We have got the trial of the captain of the watch, refer the character Hallis, the investigator. Well, we've just seen that. because I think that's what, if we just go quickly back to that, if I can remember, I should remember where it is. Yeah, it was quite recent, wasn't it? And I think what I might have to do with this filing system is to start to index it, because I can't quite find anything. Yeah. He is involved in the trial of the captain of the watch. And I've just got some notes about, because he had lots of interactions with our characters. He was quite complicated. And I remember he had a follow-up meeting with Fredegar, and Fredegar says, yeah, I think they're okay. And we got all this kind of blurb about it. But he's still a bit iffy about his -10 reaction adjustment in the future. So Hallis is just maybe, he's a very powerful character. We might just want to just avoid Hallis. So that's thread 1, the trial of the captain of the watch, Hallis the investigator. So that could be a thread that we push forward, and I am minded to push that one to the top of the list, because I think I said in a previous video that we weren't going to have resolution of the trial last week. We were going to have resolution of the trial this week, and therefore I think that's probably worthy of just determining what day we're going to have the sentencing of the poor captain of the watch, who will come up with an appropriate name before he is summarily executed. It might not be as bad as that. He might be imprisoned or exiled or something. And then I thought, well, what about the other threads that we've got on the go? And I actually came up with, what was that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 8 in total, which surprised me. But when I gleaned through all my folder and stuff like that and looked at all my previous notes, there was quite a lot of material to go on. So probably the next biggest thing, and dominating the local news just now, are the brigand incursions. And I have got under village notes, these are the Rogers Roughnecks. So if I go under the village notes, here we go. Recent event: incursions of brigands, Rogers Roughnecks, guerrilla warfare, counterinsurgency. They have been caught by surprise, forced back into the Badlands. So that was all that story about them scuttling back to their complex in our Badlands over here. So they scuttled back. We're causing an awful lot of problems for us. They were trying to stop caravans and all. This is our supply route down to Wayford, and then on to down the military road into the kingdom. We can't afford to have that artery cut and severed. So Lord Seward, with the aid of Jasper and maybe Kayla and all these other hosts of his assembled retinue, took on the brigands and beat them at their own game, because he cunningly used guerrilla, counterinsurgency to fool the brigands into a false ambush and sprung a trap. Now, he didn't manage to capture all the people he wanted. A lot of them escaped. So it's a battle to be fought another day, but it has generated a bit of a thread. So the question is whether the brigands decide they want to start having incursions again. And I would say that that's probably low on their priority, because they've just had a bit of a bloody nose off Lord Seward. The other one was to do with the brigands, and that was prisoners and slaves in the brigands complex. And remember, as part of the brigands readout on the monster manual, it referred to 1 to 10 important prisoners and some slaves. So we thought, well, we could release the slaves and maybe liberate the prisoners, and there might be someone important there. So whether we want to generate that thread, have an important captive, say, and that could be something that I think that would be more something I would like to evolve naturally, and say, if we have a patron that wants someone not specifically rescued but is looking for someone, for example, we could do a bit of confirmation bias and say, that's a good one to link to this thread. So I don't think we're going to progress that one this week. The Chaotic Good faction minority, Whether they're into agitation or conspiracy or protest, I think we'll put that on the back burner too. But if we do get an event, say that we discussed yesterday, we were talking about this revolution scenario, maybe they could be agitators in the village, causing a bit of mischief. You know, they're good, so they're not going to they're not talking about destroying the place and whatever. They're probably just really looking for equal rights for chaotic good, or all that kind of thing. Their placards and saying, this isn't fair, that Lord Seward, he's too lawful, he's too neutral, and we need a bit more freedom. It's all about freedom and being good about it. You know, that's their kind of style. You know, a bit kind of maybe, I don't know, hippie type thing. I don't think that chaotic, maybe, you know, these modern analogies that we use for the alignments, they're probably just not, they're probably a bit over the top, and we shouldn't you know, I tried that with my druid stuff, and I just don't think that really helped. Another one that I thought was a good one would be the Lawmaster Rubicus. He was that tetchy old chap that we had an interaction with to get information about the Lost Palace of Dunmorna, and he was on a mission for that Seward had commissioned, the discovery of arcane new law and the nature of things. So the Eye of Prophecy, remember, that was talked about. Azeroth, you know, Azeroth, the 12th of the 13, and his Eye of Prophecy. It's buried somewhere in this hex, this, you know, under this tufted grass over here. You know, it could be anywhere, but you know, legend tells of the Eye of Prophecy and the fact that his hex was basically vaporized, but the Eye of Prophecy probably survived because, you know, it's a magic item and these things are virtually indestructible. But it's been buried somewhere. So, you know, has Lawmaster Rubicus, has he followed it? Has he made a big discovery or something else? Something else, because he's going through all the scrolls and the books and the tomes up in the keep. Actually, while I talk about that, yes. Now remember, yes, I will come to that because that has just triggered something in me, and this could be quite exciting, and this could be like a bit of a homegrown thing, and it really skipped my mind, and it probably pays for me to just sit through and go through my entire folder and look at it in detail and just see all the different little things and notes to myself that I have put in. But I'll come to that at the end, and that's going to be, I'm going to be a bit tantalizing with this and put a little bullet point. I know what it is, but you're gonna find out by the time I get to the end of this list. And then there's Rumix Indoor. I've got a bit of a soft spot for the old sage. We keep on going on about, you know, whether he's going to survive the night type thing, and you know, every day that maybe there's a lottery on whether Rumix expires. You know, he's 120, but yeah, I think he's brought some good value to the game, and I'm thinking maybe he can have an intervention in the game setting, because he's quite good at staging things and setting stories up, and maybe confirming, you know, say we get a rumor or something, we might be able to go to Rumix and say, is there any credibility in this rumor, or do you know more about it? Because Lawmaster Rubicus, he's maybe a bit tetchy, he's a very busy man, he's getting on with things, he's not a local like Rumix. Rumix is our local sage. So again, that could be like a little thread that we could maybe say, I think this week, no, let's just wait and see what happens on the events. Remember this Moorland Keep, good old Moorland Keep, out here we go, which was unoccupied, or was it? That is the question. Whether something comes up to progress the mystery and a rumor. You know, let's see what happens. And then again, there's the Kingdom with a rebellion, the rebellion 1 year ago, and maybe some social unrest that's linked to that. How's that going? Is that impacting our campaign this week? And the one you've all been waiting for. Remember when we were doing, you know, we have in the generation of the settlement, I have a system where I have 13 different zones, and one of them is the scary one, that has the catacombs and the haunted house and this graveyard and all that kind of stuff. It's the bit that everybody doesn't really want to go to. We found out that was inside the mountain, these closed chambers, the catacombs and relics of the imperial days, and may be haunted. So I think I'm going to generate that as a thread, and see whether that is appropriate for. So that's the catacombs, in the mountain, accessed by Seaward's Keep. So remember, we were talking about sealed off chambers and sealed off passageways. What is lurking from, because this settlement, I'll just a quick recap, was reoccupied from the Empire, and we used a lot of the materials, but it was an old imperial center of fortification. What has hidden itself away deep within the mountain? Is that something, or is it just hearsay and rumor and myth? That's something that could be brought alive in the campaign. So I would say that just in summary, what we're going to do is we're going to insert the trial of the captain of the watch by Hallis the Investigator is going to happen on a certain day. So let's do that first. We'll get our D8 out, and it's on the 8th day. So I don't think that's appropriate, because I don't think we need to I'd rather just do that randomly. So I'll just roll again, and I get the 4. So Thursday. So the thread selected is the investigation and trial of the captain of the guard, and that is going to be not Monday, not Tuesday, not Wednesday. It's going to be here. We'll do a tick, do an audit tick, which is appropriate. In fact, that's just completely smudged up. I was trying to be too fancy there. I would do a quick audit tick like that. That's it. So that's our thread selected. In fact, I'll do a little subheader on this, just keep it nice and neat. Okay. Now, getting back to let's go to our troubadours, and just top and tail them. And I thought, we said, well, let's come up with a name for them. And I thought a good one for them, I was looking up, there's lots of fantasy names and stuff. I thought, well, let's think about their instruments first. And I've got down, because there's 4 of them, I thought one will have a lute, which is like a kind of medieval guitar, really. It's like a kind of big pot, elongated pot with a guitar arm coming out. It probably makes a very similar sound to a guitar. So one's playing the lute, another one's on the obligatory flutes flitting away. Another one is doing that drum thing, which is like a hand drum, and it's probably quite a big, not like a very large tambourine. He's probably got one of those little sticks that he kind of thumps on it, and it makes quite a large, quite a big noise. So he's drumming away on that. The lute's going, the flute is kind of floating along, and then to the pièce de résistance is something I've found was called the vielle. I don't know whether it's Italian. It sounded a bit Italian, and that is a fiddle. So that's quite a good little group, isn't it? It's not quite the Beatles or anything, but maybe one of them sings too. I think that would be quite nice if they have a little singer. Maybe the lute player is the singer, because it's probably a bit difficult for the violinist to do that. The drum guy, you're not going to hear, you know, drummers don't, you know, apart from Phil Collins or something like that, you know, you don't really have drummers that sing. And the flute, obviously, you know, he's got his mouth full. So I would say the lute guy is the singer, and he's got the nice voice. I thought a good name for them would be the Four Seasons Ensemble. Now, it might, you know, is that fantasy enough? I don't know, Four Seasons. It probably is something, a band called the Four Seasons. It does seem kind of familiar. I just like the ensemble, and they kind of play, kind of more kind of whimsical, lighter type music. I thought a good way to actually see what the audience reaction. They could be this really irritating bad band. Everybody kind of goes, oh no, they're coming on again, and they're really irritating, and they follow you around the place. And the guy, you know, a bit like the Monty Python thing where Eric Idle plays this very annoying bard or something, and he's always saying, you know, about the night, criticizing him and saying Sir Roger was a coward and did this, and he says, no, I'm not. It's that kind of thing. Maybe they're a bit irritating, or they could be the bee's knees. They could be fantastic. And of course, we do every performance we'll do a 1 to 10 performance. The performance metric, that's what we'll call this, performance metric, 1 to 10, to see what the audience think. Maybe if they start getting some good performance, they build the confidence, they get a positive modifier. If they get, say the first one's poor, negative modifiers, it's just going to be a spiral down. It's either a spiral up or a spiral down. I think we could have a bit of fun every night with the Four Seasons Ensemble, the lute player, the flute, the drum, and the viola. Sounds good. That's the entertainment. So let's underline that. Our four little troubadours and minstrels wandering around, making everyone's life better in their own way. Right. On the events, I haven't done my subtables yet. I'll be working on that over the weekend, and for each of those categories that I was talking about yesterday, if I can just get them out and remind you, I'll probably do it between 10 and 20 individual examples that we can flesh out and give a bit more substance to. I might even redo the external event so it becomes a bit more understandable, and we don't have to do so much interpretation of famine, for example. I'm not expecting a terrible famine to break out, but maybe there's a shortage of certain food stuff. So, you know, maybe the Hawksmoor beer has been, you know, the supply has been interrupted, and there's just going to be a revolution. There maybe will be a revolution then, a riot. You know, that, you know, I was being trite yesterday, but, you know, imagine the Hawksmoor beer was, there was interrupted supply. All the brigands have got it. They've taken all the beer. There would be an absolute revolution. So it's that type of thing I want to try and maybe just kind of get a lower key on it. Okay. Now, so was that event? Yes. On the NPCs, we had a note on our NPCs to say other NPCs will always be going about their business and professional duties. And I thought, well, maybe there's a 10% chance. You know, we do at the start of the week, and we'll do that what are they doing thing, which we did to get initial motivations for the residents of the Green Dragon Inn. The first night, we had what are they doing, and you know, I thought that was quite entertaining. But we'll obviously try to modify it to a week. So on what are they doing, you know, so we've got an NPC that's arrived. We were all a D20, and it could be, you know, they're on a long journey. You know, they probably are. Well, literally, they probably are in a long, but maybe they could be on a really long journey, like they've come from very far away or something. I wouldn't, you know, maybe interacting with bar staff isn't it good, because you wouldn't do that all week with with a pet animal. That could, I'm going to come to that. I'll leave that one just now. Works or lives here? I don't know. You would have to try and think about that. Doing a job appropriate to perfect. That's keeping quiet in the corner. That doesn't. You're not going to do that all week. Studying a map or book, or maybe we could turn that into the fact that they brought some heirloom, a map or a book that it would be interesting for the characters to look at. A character's rival or takes a dislike. Again, we've already had that with Mallow. I don't think we need any more dislikes, so we might discount that. You know what I'm talking about is like, looking for employment. That might be quite a good one. That you'd be busy doing that all week. That's something that you could imagine someone doing, looking for information, escorting someone, there's the looking for someone. Maybe that could get the prisoner thing going, because they're saying, these awful brigands came along and they hijacked our caravan and they took away my merchant lord, and he's gone, and we need to find him. That type of stuff. Okay, so that's on the NPC side. Also, one of the things that we had done was on the residents and the adventurers. Now these ones here, this tranche, party B. Now we independently, they all became they were doing individual tasks, because that's the I on this, and lo and behold, 4 of them were doing training, and 1 was doing healing. And the question was, well, what has happened? What has Party B been up to? And that, I think, is worthy of doing a little mind exercise as well. And I thought, well, why don't we have, we come up with 4 different situations, and we really load it on the fantasy theme. So it would be something like, maybe they went out into the wilderness and they got a commission to go exploring, and they found something and they got some experience, but Mallow got hurt. Or another one, maybe they were trying to get to the Lost Palace of Dunmorna. They got lost or something in the hills, and then they were ambushed by some goblins, and they fought the goblins and fought them off, but unfortunately Mallow was hurt. Maybe another one was that they decided that they wanted to give up on the Green Dragon and head back down to Wayford. They'd only got about 5 miles, and suddenly a troll jumped out and they ran away. And then they ran away into the off the road, and then they came across a cave, went down the cave and found the troll's hoard. And the troll came back, and by the time they'd done that, they'd scarpered, so they got all this experience. That type. That's 3 examples already, and they're all kind of laden with a kind of fantasy type thing. So I could list them out quickly, and just say, for that party, that's their wee backstory. So whenever we have an interaction, we've got that at the back of our mind, that poor old Mallow, he got hurt, running away from the troll, and he fell on his face or something like that. But in the meantime, they got a nice cache. Or maybe he got a goblin spear in his leg, and and the rest of them had to carry him back. Okay. So I'll do that for the next week. So if we have an interaction with any of these guys, which we're probably likely to, these events that will be happening, if they do crystallize, one of the strong possibilities is that we have an interaction. Also, I know we said this with this pet thing, and remember, one of the first stories I told about the initial my version of the Green Dragon, and that I set up for my first solo campaign that I was playing, and I had this amazing occupant. I did all the occupants, and one of them was this half orc. He was a half orc, just rolled it up, and he had a pet. He was sitting there on his own with this pet, and I thought this was very amusing. And I thought, what are the chances? And it got me thinking that maybe there was more to this half orc than meets the eyes. And for some reason, my mind just wandered off, and I thought maybe he's like he's almost like an Elric or the Eternal Champion type character. He is an interdimensional being with his demon, like the Philip Pullman books, The Dark Materials, and he pets his demon, and it's a kind of manifestation of his soul, and he just likes to observe. He goes from dimension to dimension, reality to reality, and his whole thing is just to sit in inns and watch. So I thought, if we ever get another half orc, and by any chance get a pet as the accompanying fact, or what is happening for me today, that's going to happen. So I know the chances, the probabilities are just astronomical, but I'm just planting that for this campaign. That is going to be a feature. Okay. So I think I've more or less done everything I want to do on the in mechanic. Now, in summary, this mechanic and process, the idea of it should create something interesting and dynamic, and it evolves in the environment. So for solo play, it's an augmentation to the overall setting. The idea of it is it can be used as a kind of catalyst or a cauldron. We put the ingredients in, we stir them up a bit. The events are firing away every day. The threads are going off. We've got the entertainers running around, either being annoying or great. We've got the interactions of the different characters. We've got all these interesting people that we're developing. We've got adventurers coming with stories of foreign lands and thinking, they're going to have an interaction with us. The events firing off. All this is happening, bubbling away, while we go out adventuring and doing all our type of stuff. And my hope is that as we go through day by day by day, and then on to the next week, it's a self-perpetuating, self-sustaining, perpetual motion type device. It just generates more and more background, more and more threads, more and more patrons and missions and adventure, and it's self-perpetuating. That is the brief. That's what this is designed to do. And I know it's a bit of a tall order, but I think sometimes having a very simple mechanism, a grounded mechanism like this, that's got certain components that are firing off randomly, and you're putting a spin on everything and a bit of an interpretation, it will come up with some creative. In some cases, it will be maybe just a bit silly and whatever, but it will get that spark of genius, that spark of utter creativity that you think, the little light bulb comes on, and you think, oh my goodness, that is just amazing. That is just so AD&D, and we can convert it into the tome. We can do it with all this type of stuff, all the things in here. We can look up, if it's something to do with an armourer, we look up the armour thing and all this detail on what the armour does, and it's all there. We just need a spark to get us going, and hopefully this is a process to do that. Okay, right, I will just close up the green dragon in cauldron for just now, put away my things, and come to what else I wanted to talk to you about today, which was back to the characters and their experience points. Remember, I did a calculation of where we are on those, and I've got it scheduled out. So our three characters, Tristan Shadowblade, Dagobert the Holy, Lindris Runeweaver, we're completely familiar with them. They've all got a bit of personality each. They've all got strengths, weaknesses, different professions, some different alignments, adhering to the leadership of Dagobert the Holy, who is lawful neutral, cleric of Bane. He sets the agenda. He has proved his worth, his mettle, his leadership. The rest of them are bought into his rule. When I say rule, that's a bit strong. It's a bit of it's like a first amongst equals, Dagobert. They have the only one that has a bonus on experience points is Tristan for his strength and Lindris for his intelligence. Dagobert has no bonus for experience. The actual experience that the characters have is here, where, remember, we started this for Adventure, I call it Adventure 1, which is the initial contact with the spider, the shrieker, the fire beetles, and getting some treasure. And we came to a total of 546 experience points. The second bit that I have not gone through in detail were the skeletons. And we had 3 skeletons, so that's a total hit points. They were hit dice 1. The basic for that is 30. XP per hit point is 1, so that's 11. Their specialized ability was, remember when it came to edge weapons, they were half damage. And the only person that was doing full damage was the mace of Bane that Dagobert was using. The exceptional ability was resistance to magic. Now, we didn't actually use any sleep spells or anything like that, but they are resistant to that. So you get an exceptional bonus because of that. Total experience points, 158. Okay, and then the treasure haul that we got from them, we got 750 electrum pieces. That converted to 375 gold pieces. The exchange rate, the exchange commission fee was 11. Net 364, so we took 364 in experience. The magic items, the potion, we had levitation, speed, love, and longevity. We realized levitation, speed, and love at Thudabert's Emporium. The net that we got was 360, 315, 210. That's what we take into the experience point pool. Then we have on the back burner, we have longevity. That is the experience points that we'd get if we keep it. That is the gold pieces that we get if we sell it. That's the full, we might be knocked down a bit. And then the sword +2, 800 if we keep it, 4,000 gold pieces, hefty sum if we sell it. But it's a fantastic blade, beautiful blade, chaotic neutral. It's got a bit of a wayward character. It's kind of a bit wobbly. So I thought of a good analogy for the sword, the +2 sword. And if it's of a different alignment, if you've ever been really irritated by the, not cruise control, but it's that lane AI that they have in cars. The car I've got just now, the default on it is it has this lane, lane assist technology. And if you don't indicate and you change lanes, it will create almost like a little shock in the steering wheel. And it's really quite disconcerting. It's like it's not quite an electric shock, but it's just. So I was thinking maybe the sword, if it's a different alignment, has that little kind of, that horrible little feeling shock that goes through your system. So we haven't realized those two, so I've got them on the back burner for experience. We have the fire beetles, we realized 32. That gives a total of 1439. We've got 1,985 to divide between 3. Now, if we take, say we don't sell those 2 items, we will get 500 added on, and we'll get 800 added on. That gives 3285 per character in total to the party. Divide that by 3, 1,095. So that's not going to be enough to get us up a level. So we might have to do, we're either going to have to do another delve and get some more treasure, or we think about realizing some of these, and then that might get Dagobert up to first level for his cleric. But we remember for the other 2, they're split classes, so we have to divide them by 2, even with the bonuses, their experience point bonuses. It's going to be quite a struggle to get up. So I think they need a bit more. They have to realize a bit more, or break into this realize the sword, which would be a bit of a shame, because if Lindris's argument would be, hey, look, we've got this amazing weapon, I can use it. It's not really going to vibrate on me too much. I'm chaotic good and it's chaotic neutral. We can see it's eye to eye with each other. I could use it for all our delving, and this would give us like, it's like a super weapon really. It lights up, it does all sorts of things. And Dagobert maybe just has to be convinced and come round to the light on that. You know, according to him, he thinks that's a terrible piece of kit, and he's not happy with it at all. Okay, so that's the experience to be done. I don't think we're at the point where we can go up a level. We don't need to do any training. I don't even think. Let's have a look at the gold that we've got. This is on the finances side. On the finances, we've got, we had 212 between the three of us. That pooled our gold pieces at the start. We made a few purchases. Remember, we were trying to hunt out that spider, and we bought some flasks of oil and spears, and the rest was incidental. We paid a deposit to Fredigar, so we were left with 192 gold pieces net. From Adventure 1, we got gold of 250. From Adventure 2, we got Electrum, after translation, 6364. The magic items realized and sold, 885. The fire beetle glands, 32, gives a total of 1723. However, we have some expenditure. So we have the Green Dragon maintenance after Fredigar's deposit, 285, so that's 100 gold piece each times 3. Kayla's appraisal fee of 20, which was, you know, very minor really. It was, you know, it was such a long it was a very rich interaction. It only came up to 20. And then we had Turvan's ceremony, which was very, very pricey. What's 360 as let's 360 out of 4,000. Yeah, it was a 9%. You know, that was a 9%. It could have been 10%, but you know, it was remember, it was quite a strenuous thing that Torvin was doing, and he gave us a very good explanation of things. And I think we felt quite a bit of trust with him, that he was really, it was a quality service, and sometimes you don't mind paying top dollar for a quality service. So in total, that's cost 665. So if you looked at our bank account, you would see that we have 1,058 gold pieces, thereabouts, in the strong room, because what we've had to do is give instruction to Seymour and say, do you have any courier service that can take these monies? We could probably have paid Kayla straight off. You know, say Perryfold after the meeting. He said, yes, we've just got the account to settle. I've done a quick calculation on my medieval version of my calculator. I reckon the abacus is going with the abacus. I reckon 20 gold pieces for that, so we can probably settle up there. However, this is a tidy sum, you know, too big a sum to be the characters to be carrying around. They would arrange with Seymour, and Seymour would say, yes, that's part one. Again, one of the amazing services of the Green Dragon Inn. Don't we just love this place? It's just fantastic. I've got a whole list of the things it does, and also, you know, this, I was going to say money laundry, but money changing and money services is one of the things that the Green Dragon does as well, and that includes the taking on of cash deposits, and also paying out of cash disbursements. So he disperses 360 gold pieces from our collection that we look over and say, right, we're counting all our money out, we've got it piled up, put it in a small chest. He takes it off, and it is delivered to Torvin, who is a very happy weaponsmith. Gets on crafting all these spears and doing all this kind of weaponsmith stuff. Okay, so that was really, that was the main objective of this today, was really to kind of clear up the starting in and give you a kind of sweeping overview of what that's all about, so that you have an idea how that's going to unwind in future episodes. When we get tomorrow, we get to Monday, day 8. There's nothing happening according to our schedule apart from an event check, so I will have something ready for that. 1 in 6 chance. And also I wanted to show you the experience and the finances, and just to say probably we don't really need to do and think about maybe the training side yet. We have some decisions to do on these 2 items, what we're going to do with them. I think they probably want to get rid of the longevity. I can't see, say Kayla, we had a bit of suspicion that Kayla wanted this. I think we're talking last time, I almost convinced myself that Kayla has already taken one of these. It had maximum impact, and because she has a naturally beautiful woman anyhow, it's almost just had an amazing augmentation effect. And she belies the fact that she's probably been reduced to, say, 25 or something. She looks as though she's 20. It's difficult to tell the difference between, in your 20s, you're going to look great anyhow. And the fact, she just looks like an amazing young woman. So I would say that, she's probably not going to be interested in having the risk of being reduced to a child, because that's what could happen. Say you got 12 years off 25, you could go down to that's 13. You don't want to appear as a magic user. That's the risk of this potion. It could reverse hideously, and she becomes a very attractive older woman. But you get my drift on that. I don't think there's a market there for, and I think Thudibert will be fine, because he'll say, yeah, I trade everything. I think he might be a bit iffy about the sword, because that's an expensive piece item, and his resale. But then he might think, well, chaotic neutral is a bit of a niche, but I know there is a chaotic neutral, because Thudibert is a wily operator. He might be coming across as a bit servile and very polite, but there's a business brain calculating behind that. He might have heard that the Green Dragon boasts. It has at least nine guests now, and one of them has been said it's not very nice to talk about these things, but one of them reputedly is a chaotic neutral fighter thief, and he might be interested in a blade at some stage, especially this fantastic magic sword from this dead hero Arnhelm. So there could be a play on that to happen. So I think we'll deal with that next time, when we come to looking at what the characters are doing on day 8. I think overall the characters are probably going to start this week with the view that they go back to Dunmona and check out some of the possibilities in the dungeon. Go down some corridors that they haven't been, and see how they get on. They might have a wee think about whether they have appropriate weaponry and whatever now. I'll have a bit of a think about that. But I think they're probably pretty well tooled up. Lindris can use the +2 magic sword in the time being, so they may as well employ the equipment, the new equipment that they've got. It's not going to change any of the value if he's using it. As long as when he realizes it, we account for it at experience points and gold pieces at the time of disposal. Okay, I think that's just about it on what I need to do today. I will speak to you over the weekend when I have done some of the event tables, and we'll get this process up and running, and I do a bit more adventuring with our characters. Okay, just leaves me to say thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.